Hey guys, thanks for listening to another episode of the Raptors Den presented to you by Faulty Logics.
You're here with your man Peter, my man here Dan, and our new guest host for this week here, our boy Adam.
What
Why
up,
don't you say
Adam?
hey, Adam, there for a second?
How's it going, guys? My name's Adam. I'm from Hamilton. Me and the guest host, Peter, go way back. I'm a big Toronto sports fan, big Raptors fan, so ready to get fired up and let's get talking.
Yeah, we're very excited to have him here. There, another input is always valuable here with the Raptors Den. Stacked agenda that we have here today. We're going to be touching a little bit on the biggest trade rumor in the NBA for so far this season for sure. That's Blake Griffin going over to the Detroit Pistons from the Clippers. We have a couple of signings here as well with Greg Monroe. And the main portion of this week's podcast will be heavily on the All-Star Weekend. That is coming up next weekend. I think it is the 9th, the 10th to the 13th or something of February.
Valentine's Day weekend.
That's true. Something to look forward to. I'm actually looking forward to this All-Star Weekend. Some good events, good players. I like the mix-up that they did a little bit here with the drafting of the teams, not so much East and West. We'll definitely get more into depth about that there.
For sure.
But starting off here with the Blake Griffin trade going to Detroit.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, the giveaway that we have. So, again, same as every week, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. So, help us hit that button down there. Comment below. We're going to pick a winner from any of the Raptors Den episodes. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll do it live on the podcast. And you get a chance to win 2 of $15 Google Play gift cards. So, share this with your friends and family. Help us get to 100. That's the goal for us.
Yep. We need a comment there, guys, and make sure your account's not private so we can see who you are in order to hook up and get you those gift cards.
Yeah.
Great. So, now getting back into the real NBA juicy part of this podcast here, we can start talking about that Blake Griffin trade going to Detroit.
So just my first instincts of seeing the trade, I thought it has to be a move for Detroit for a guy. They need a guy to build the team's sales around. They need a face of the franchise. They didn't have that before, in my opinion. I think this is a move. It also makes them better, I mean, in a way, but I think they just needed for ticket sales, for jersey, for I said to Pete on the way here, I think the Clippers kind of squeezed the Blake Griffin juice out of the orange, you know? So I think hopefully moving him on to Cleveland or Detroit, they can utilize his marketing assets and go from there.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Adam, because purely one with Blake Griffin going to Detroit, it's more of a reason for a free agent to go and play and team up with Blake Griffin to try and make something out of the weaker Eastern Conference, which as a whole, there's just not many competitive teams in the East.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure how you feel about that.
I agree 100% as well too. Like they needed that superstar. They had Drummond. We knew he was going to be good. We didn't know how good, and he is not as good as they probably wanted him to be. He's getting there, but he has flaws in his game, like his free throw shooting that he's working on. But you need that superstar.
And he can't create his own shot. Andre Drummond, of course, he creates his own shot off of rebounds, putbacks, and things of that nature, second chance points. But he needs someone to take the attention off of him, set a screen, roll to the hoop, get an easy two. Right. Blake Griffin is really good at that.
What's interesting about this deal is the league has been moving in the shooting direction the last couple of years, threes, raining threes. So I think for Detroit to have the two big men like Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin, kind of following the Pelicans plan from last season, going with Cousins and Anthony Davis, thank you. It's just an interesting strategy. Maybe they're trying to go against the league and just try and overpower guys with the post game. It's tough to see how it's going to work with Cousins and Davis, with Cousins going down this year. But you know what? I think it's a good swing. So we'll see what happens.
I like the idea where they're coming from. Coming from a Raptors fan, I've seen this tried and fail miserably with the Chris Bosh, Jermaine O'Neal experiment.
Right.
That went terribly wrong with the Raptors. Of course, it might not be that bad for what is going to be happening with there in Detroit, or how it's doing with the Pelicans before Cousins went out. The Spurs are doing something similar with LaMarcus Aldridge and Paul Gasol. They're being relatively competitive in the West there, and that's a better conference. So, like you said, it's a good experiment.
But just to compare to the Jermaine O'Neal, Chris Bosh, I feel like the Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond and Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins is a 1A and 1B, where Jermaine O'Neal and Chris Bosh was definitely the better of the two.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
And he was still young at the time.
And he was still young at the time.
Right?
Jermaine had the bad knees after the Indiana career. So, I mean, I think it's just a different... I see where you're going with it, but I think it's just... I think Jermaine O'Neal can be compared to Griffin and DeMarcus Cousins.
I think the double big man game can work really well because, like Adam said, everyone's going with the smaller lineups, shooting threes and everything. And when it comes down to it, if you have a dominating front court there, how are you going to handle it, right? They're just going to beat you up in the paint.
Slow the pace down. And no, that's very true. And like you guys are saying, these guys are big men, but they're not your prototypical big men. Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond get up and down the court. They were athletic. They're long. They're rim protectors. And no, it's true. I can see it. It's still Detroit. They have no wing presence now that they lost Avery Bradley. They don't have a true point guard. Yes, they have Reggie Jackson, who's a solid point guard. He's a good role player. Is he going to lead your team to greatness?
I saw a tweet from the owner, just a quote saying they didn't even think that they could get Blake Griffin. So the fact that they got him, I think, is just huge for them. Stan Van Gundy's on cloud 9, I imagine.
He has a guy that actually strategizes behind
Exactly.
now.
He has something to build around. So, hey, we'll see what happens.
Hey, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be overall good.
Yeah.
They cleared up a lot of cap space. The Clippers did to bring in the free agents. So I know we were talking a lot about Detroit, but there's another team in this trade, like the Clippers as well. They cleared up a lot of cap space. Are they trying to make a run at one of those big free agency signings this year? Adam,
honestly, I was disappointed when Blake went to the Clippers from the start. I think that was just a disappointment. When he was in Oklahoma, I think he was just dunking over people. And he went to the Clippers. It was just like I feel like there's just like a little brother franchise in the NBA. Just a little disappointing for me. For me to see him move on is just good for
his career.
For his career, yeah.
That's fair.
For basketball fans in the East.
Yeah, that's true. Another superstar. How about you there, Dan? What was the Clippers' benefit out of this deal?
I think the Clippers actually benefit a lot because what they had obviously wasn't working.
It's true.
They lost Jamal Crawford. They lost Chris Paul. And the funny thing is that they tried so hard to keep DeAndre Jordan there, and now they just pretty much blew everyone up, and he's the only one there. So
and starting from scratch, I think that was them hitting the reset self-destruct button. Let's clear up some cap space. We know if we can't sell DeAndre Jordan by Thursday, he's going to be leaving in July. So let's get some value from one of these people that we still have possession of, which is Blake Griffin, who has a stupid fat contract that he signed last year. It was like 5 years, 100-something million. Moving that off the books is beneficial. And I know a lot of people are saying that Paul George is looking to go to the Lakers because he wants to go back home in LA. Like we said last week, there's 2 LA teams. Why not go to the Clippers and rebrand a huge franchise under yourself in your home city? Now that you would be the man of LA, yes, it's a little brother kind of team in the league. I get that. But still, it's your own team in your home city. You're going to put butts in the seats. Mm-hmm. People are going to come just to watch you. There's always celebrities in LA that will come and watch Paul George. So I don't think it's going to happen, but they can make a run. I don't see why not.
I think the Clippers have realized their glory days of the core of DeAndre, Chris Paul, and Blake are gone. And I think they're just their rebuilding phase has happened. Blake, Chris have left. I think DeAndre's the next to go in the next couple of days. That's just my opinion. I think Lou's gone as well. Yeah. So I think they're just building assets and they're doing a similar like the crash and rebuild kind of type deal. So
it's not too bad either. I don't think some people say they lost the trade. I don't necessarily agree. Yeah, I think they both did really well in the trade. I mean, the Clippers still got back 2 starters in Avery Bradley and Tobias Harris. Yeah. And they got a couple of 2 draft picks in the next year or two. So
yeah, they got one next year and one the year after.
Right, so it's not that bad. They're going to be able to
are they both firsts?
Rebuild. One of them's a first round and one's a second round.
Okay. 2018 to the Clippers, 2018 first round and 2019 second round.
Yeah. No.
To the Clippers from Detroit, who realistically, Detroit's not going to be that great of a team in the next 2 years, so their pick's going to be pretty nice.
Well, superstars come at a steep price, and when Detroit needs one, they're gonna give up a little bit of farm system to get one. So,
and they got like Blake Griffin, like you said, he signed into a 5-year deal. They can hang on to him for a while.
Right, he has a guaranteed 4 years of the Pistons.
It's a low risk
before you have to put out this new contract, where the contract is just getting higher and higher with every year. So it's a good way to hold a superstar.
He will sell jerseys in Detroit. He will get commercials. He'll get it all. He'll get the superstar treatment. So I think that's a big part of him going there.
The rebuilding of Detroit as a city as a whole, it's like rebuilding everything. Yeah. So it's a good fit. I think it's going to be a good fit.
I agree.
Moving on there, that was a good discussion on that trade there. One signing that was kind of out of left field. You didn't hear much of this player before the season started, but Greg Monroe. There was a little bit of debate of him coming to either New Orleans or going over to Boston, and he was coming from the Bucks, was he not?
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't really know where he was coming from.
He was Phoenix with the Phoenix.
Maybe it was actually Phoenix.
Phoenix
bottom out.
It was
Bottom
actually
out.
Phoenix. Yeah, no, you're right.
He was in with the Bucks last year.
Yes, Greg Monroe has been a name that's been on the decline in the last year, maybe year and a half. But when he first came into the game, he was pretty good. He was actually running a team. He was a good, solid, low presence. You're not going to get that this year, I'm sure. He's more of an off the bench, Tristan Thompson kind of role player. Still could be valuable to a team making a push. And he actually did sign a deal with the Boston Celtics for a 1-year deal, just for $5 million. It was a pretty good signing for them. Is this the piece that will help Boston get over in the playoff run if they run into Cleveland or the Raptors?
Personally, I think they're already going to win the East, but that's just my opinion. I think it was just an interesting signing because when I think center, I think he's a center, correct?
Center, big man.
Center, big man. I think just Al Horford dominates that position in Boston. So it was just, I just thought, I thought other teams can maybe use Greg Monroe better than Boston can. But you know what? I think it is a good signing. And he adds some depth to the big man game in Boston, which they need. They obviously have the guards and the forwards to do it. So I think it does help them. They got him at a cheap price compared to maybe what they could have signed him at 2 or 3 years ago at a big contract. So, yeah, I think it's good for them.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's the depth part of it because they have Al Horford, they have Aaron Baines, and their starting power forward is like Jason Tatum, right? Yeah. So having that veteran presence who he knows how to play the game, and I think he's super undervalued because, like you said, he played really well back in Detroit. The only reason we stopped seeing more of him was because of the emergence of Andre Drummond, really. So I think
and he's had a couple
kind
of
being
injuries.
slept on. That too, but I think he can still produce, if given the opportunity. I think the whole situation in the NBA is the opportunities.
Hey, that's very true. I think Greg Monroe, out of the two teams that he was going between the Pelicans or the Celtics, I think he made the better choice for himself for if he's looking to win a championship this year, if not this year, next year. The Celtics are in a better position to do longer playoff runs than the Pelicans are in the immediate future. I don't know, but if it is all about opportunity, the Pelicans were gift wrapping him the starting job because Boogie is out now. Boston, he's coming and he's going to be fighting for time against Tatum, Baines, Al Horford, respectively. So yes, I don't know where he's looking at, if it is for his opportunity to make a big name, because this is his free agency contract. If he didn't sign this 1-year deal, he was a free agent, so he could have tried to get a value by showcasing his skill in New Orleans and then trying to get the money in the second year. Me personally, I would have went to New Orleans instead of going to Boston. I don't think that game system is going to fit Greg Monroe as well as it would have in New Orleans, who is used to playing with two big men on the court almost all the time. Going in to Boston where it's Kyrie, create space. Greg Monroe doesn't have a jump shot outside the paint at all. Right. Al Horford has a mid-range jump shot. Most people on Boston have a mid-range jump shot, just so Kyrie can create, kick out, jump shot. I don't know if it's going to be a good fit. Hopefully, if any man can convert him, it is Brad Stevens. He is a genius. Something to watch, too. I think I'm going to be
You know what?
interested.
Sometimes going to a good team like the Celtics for a guy like Monroe, who has been on not so good teams or mediocre teams like Detroit, Phoenix, and Milwaukee, can help in the resurgence of his career. Also, yeah, they might not be the best system for him, but I think guys like Kyrie are so skilled, just ball movers or whatever. They can find him in the situations where they need to find him,
or put him in the situations.
And even Brad
Pick and roll.
Stevens. Yeah. Brad Stevens knows the type of player he is, right? So.
The other thing too is that there are rumors that Gordon Hayward may return by the end of the season.
Imagine.
Can you imagine that as a lineup?
Imagine.
Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, Tatum as a stretch 3, Monroe, and Al Horford. Not bad playoffs, especially in the playoffs when your benches, you only use 8 guys realistically in the postseason. That's not.
They're balling without
fast.
Gordon Hayward, and with shooting. Shooting Gordon Hayward is just extremely scary, and that's why I think they're going to win the East. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I see Monroe helps them.
Marcus Smart with the defense off the bench as well. He can space the floor.
Jaylen Brown,
they drafted very well last couple of years,
Yeah.
and it's helped them immensely.
Hate
good
saying
depth,
that.
good depth.
Yeah.
Hate saying that because it's
You know
Boston
what? Yeah,
Celtics.
I agree.
Being a Raptors fan, the Celtics, they always
And they're only going to get better with these picks
these
coming
are
up
nice.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they've stock loaded picks. But I don't know. It's good to be Celtics. It's a good franchise to watch in the upcoming years. We'll have to see how Monroe fits there for the long term.
Yep.
Something that should be good to come to. So moving on to the real thing that we want to talk about this week here, is the All-Star Weekend that's coming up in the NBA. The unofficial halftime of the league coming into the trade deadline is going to be right before All-Star Weekend as well. So we know what teams are going to be finishing off as. A lot of good competitions and contests this year at the All-Star Game. We have the Rookie Rising Stars game, the dunk contest on Saturday, the three-point contest, the skills contest, and of course the big game on Sunday. So we can just touch base first on the Rising Stars game. They are doing a world team versus the Team USA with rookies and second-year players. I believe that are going to be selected for these two teams. We can just touch base on who you think has a better team, if there's any snubs on the Rising Stars game that could have been on the world team or the USA team. I know you had an interesting point to bring up there, Adam.
So this as a Raptors fan, this one hits home. So I just think that I saw a tweet this week that would put a Raptors all-rookie or sophomore team of Fred VanVleet, DeLon Wright, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl. You put those starting five up against these starting five, Team USA or Team World, and I think those five Raptors give these starting five a run for their money. That being said, I think at least one should be in here. Either OG or Jakob Poeltl, in my opinion. Those are the two for me that got robbed. But if you put those five Raptors against these five starters for either team, I think they give them a run. So that says something.
I agree 100% with OG and Poeltl. Poeltl has been one of the guys that I've been really, really fond of with the Toronto Raptors. I think he's eventually going to take over that starting spot from JV. He just needs to develop a bit more. I really like Poeltl's game. He's long, he's tall, he can play defense better than JV, especially on the perimeter. So I don't know. I think he's eventually gonna be a really good guy, and yeah, I think he was snubbed for sure.
I tend to agree. I know we're all a little bit biased because we're all Raptors fans. I know this was the main thing, that not one of our rising stars are able to be in this game, especially because when you think of the Raptors, we are a young team as a whole with the 1 or 2 year players. Like we have people like what everyone that Adam said. Fred VanVleet, rookie season. DeLon Wright, this is his second season, I'm pretty sure. Maybe his third.
Technically his third, but
he had a write-off season his very first year. Right. Ben Simmons is still in the game. This is technically his second year, and he's up for Rookie of the Year. Joel Embiid, same situation as DeLon Wright. OG Anunoby, yes, he was thrown into the fire as a starting in the very first game of the season, and he has produced. I think he should have been in there into the world team as well. Pascal Siakam, he started off really nice, kind of fizzled off. This is his second year as well. Could have fizzled off with Jakob Poeltl. Like, he should have definitely been on Team World. Just looking off of the Team World's people on the team, yes, the Team World is a little bit more well-rounded, I think, in the big men position than the Team USA. But I think he could have slipped in there before a lot of players. He could have slipped in there before definitely our own Canadian Dylan Brooks. He could have been in there for the forward in the world team. I like Dylan Brooks, though. He's really good, too, as well. But
even Frank
Nikela,
I can't even pronounce his last name, but
the guard from the Knicks.
I don't know if he should have been in the world game. Like, he's a rookie. He has a chance to play next year. This year, I don't know if he deserved it.
It's true. So I think one of the Raptors should have been in there. Fred VanVleet, especially in the last 2 months, he's been balling out of control. I know it's a little bit later in the season before the All-Star game that he could have been in the Team USA. I think he could have definitely been in there.
Just to touch on Fred VanVleet quickly, I don't know if you guys remember watching him at Wichita State during the March Madness, but he was a treat to watch because he was on that team with the New York Knicks.
Ron Baker.
And those two, I remember watching them and be like, these two are absolute studs, and these guys are going to go to the NBA. And the fact that the Raptors got him as an undrafted free agent, and I recognized his name from the start, and the fact he's actually playing well for the Raptors these last couple of weeks, like playing at an unbelievable level as an undrafted point guard, is just great. It looks good on Ujiri, looks good on the Raptors, looks good on Dwayne Casey for utilizing him. He's an absolute steal.
And it looks good on the G League because he did come through the Raptors 905. He did win the championship with them last year. He played the whole season with the Raptors 905. this is evidence that the G League, if you have a secondary team in the city, it pays dividends immediately.
Mhm.
Like we've had Van Vliet come from there. Pascal Siakam played a lot of time there.
Norm Powell a little bit.
Norm Powell played a lot of time there as well. So did DeLon Wright even. If you guys were watching the Raptors game last night against Portland Trailblazers on February the 2nd, it was a kind of a blowout, so we got to put in a lot of our young guys. We have Lonzo Brown, who's playing really well with the 905, came and got a little bit of minutes. Same with something McKinney. He came out with the G League, got a little bit of minutes in the NBA as well. Hit a couple threes. Like he did well, and that's coming out of the G League, staying warm, getting time, getting reps. You can see in 2 to 3 years if these guys actually get a shot in the NBA.
Everything you just said there, I think it points to Masai Ujiri's drafting.
Yes.
First and second rounds, he's just absolutely killed it. With 2 years ago, Pirtle and Siakam. Maybe 2 years before that, DeLon Wright and Norman Powell first and second rounds. Like he is, you don't see second round players in the NBA make starting rosters or make rosters in general. So to see Pascal Siakam and Norman Powell and even Fred VanVleet, a couple of second rounders and one undrafted free agent, making moves or impacting the Raptors game, speaks volumes for Masai Ujiri's managing position.
100%.
So, but going on to the rookie and All-Star game a little bit more as well, the World in the West, they didn't necessarily designate any starters here, and I don't know if they've announced the coaches. I haven't heard any rumblings on All-Star coaches. I know last year that they had guests
Celebrity
do it.
hosts.
Yeah, I remember Drake did it in Toronto that year.
Kevin Hart or something.
Yeah, and players as well. So
Yeah.
let's wait out to see if they're going to announce coaches for that as well. Going down, looking at the roster here right now, there are a lot more notable names on the USA team than the world team. If we have to pick a team, who do you guys think is going to win, the world or the USA? And if you had to pick one MVP, one standout on the team, give me a quick rundown. I know I was looking at it a little bit here myself. It all depends on who wins, the world or the US. We can pick an MVP from each if you guys want.
Just looking on paper here, I think World has the advantage just on paper. I'm gonna go 25, Ben Simmons. I just like his game. I think he likes the stage of a rookie rising stars game. I think he takes over. He's got the talent to do it. He's probably the most talented guy in the field, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. That's my pick.
I'm also going to say Team World is going to win it all. I feel like they have a really, really strong team. What I like about that is it shows that we're finding talent outside of the U.S.
Absolutely.
So scouting is a lot better. In my opinion, MVP is going to go to Joel Embiid. He's already playing as an all-star this year as well, too. I think he's going to kill these rooks.
Yep.
Hey, I think so too.
I think he's a man among boys in this field.
Yeah.
Yet again, we have to go into that debate. This is technically his third year in the NBA. Yes, his first year was a write-off. Should he even be in this game? To me, personally, I do not think so. But, hey, I don't make the big rules, but he did make it, and he is going to be a good player. I'm surprised you guys said the world team's going to win. Myself and USA players, yes, they're more accustomed to all-star type of games, so I think they know how to play in this kind of not real atmosphere, like very competitive game, but still can get their shot off, make 50 points in an all-star game kind of thing. My surprise winner, it does depend on if he got the shot going that day. Lonzo Ball.
Wow.
Wow. He can sneak out and just ball out control because he is a hot dog who is not trying to be a hot dog in the Lakers. If his shot is dropping, which it's not, it hasn't never been, but when there's no pressure, it might. He could start shooting the ball. He has passing, he's going to be on point. He's going to get 15, 20 assists. Like, that's not going to be a question just because he's just going to be running the court, throwing up alley-oops to all of these players. Kyle Kuzma can score a lot of buckets as well. And he plays with 3 other Lakers that he can help facilitate and make shots for. I don't know. I would like to be on the edge. I would like to throw out the Lonzo Ball. So if he does win it, I can look at both of you guys and go, ha, I gotcha.
Not happening, so I'm not worried about it.
But then again, because you guys know I'm not a big Lonzo Ball fan, but in this kind of atmosphere where showing off is encouraged.
Yeah.
Who does it better than the Ball?
Yep. You know, LeVar's going to get some camera time. So.
Yes. Who's going to do it better than a Ball?
That's true.
Oh.
You know what?
That's true.
Quick shout out to the world team as well. There, I'm liking the Canadian presence on that team. We do have Dylan Brooks and Jamal Murray. two young Canadians coming into the team, getting some love in the All-Star festivities. It doesn't happen much. Andrew Wiggins was in it the last couple of years as well. Now he's a little bit older. Didn't make the All-Star team yet. But it's still to see the growth of Canadian basketball in the upcoming years. I think it's going to be great.
I think Jamal Murray is also another low-key, possibly sneaky MVP in there. Because the guy can put up buckets.
Oh, yeah.
Did anyone else see that step back jumper he put
crossover?
on to Steven Adams the
did
other
see
day?
that. And I like Steven Adams too, so
Yeah.
I didn't like
Why?
seeing that.
And he's good at defense. Like
Yeah.
he's a mobile big man on the wing. Like, of course, he's not supposed to be out there, but
And Jamal Murray just had to showboat welcome back the court too.
As a starting guard and one of the leading scorers on the Nuggets, he's going to have an advantage over a lot of these younger players.
with just experience.
One MVP that also Donovan Mitchell of the
Yes.
Jazz. I mean,
I thought that's what you were going to say instead of Alonzo Ball. To be
Really?
honest.
I mean, I bet you he must be one of the Vegas favorites to win.
That's true. Yeah,
That guy's been balling out of control.
Actually, I didn't even see his name down there. That's actually really true. He dropped 40 points last
Yesterday.
night. Yeah.
When was he taken in the draft? Do you guys have any?
No
Was he a first round pick?
He was a first
He
round.
was a first
But I
round
think it
pick.
was like 19th or something, like late in the first round. Like people slept on him.
He apparently.
Same with Dennis Smith Jr. I wanted to see if it's going to be a preview of him in the dunk contest on that Friday night rookie sophomore game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's going to be flying through the air. I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, from the past years, I can never really say I was looking forward to the rookie Rising
No.
Star game. I'm looking forward to this one.
Right.
There's a couple people, Laurie Mikkinen. Like no one really
Yeah.
talked about him. Yeah,
Right.
he's a stretch for like. Why not?
Well, there's names in this one. There hasn't been names in
prior-
previous years. There's like
Right.
Chris Dunn, Brandon Ingram. Like those are actual.
Kuzma. No one said Kuzma.
I know
Like,
Brogdon's injured. Buddy Hield, Jamal Murray. Like there's guys actual worth watching.
Buddy Hield, yeah, I love Buddy Hield.
compared to previous years where it hasn't been the talent on the floor.
Actually, no, you did touch on that briefly there. We didn't really talk about it there. Malcolm Brogdon. Unfortunately, he did have a bad quad injury. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
He was on that Team USA, as well, representing the Bucks. Brief throwout. I know I have a couple guys I think who might replace him for that spot. I don't know if they are going to replace him, but I know that there were a couple rookies, especially coming from the USA team as well, because that's who they're going to be looking for.
I think you got it nailed with DeAndre Fox. I think he's the
A sneaky Sacramento
sneaky
Kings
replacement,
guard.
but
Why not? Looking at the numbers, he's doing pretty well. He's getting 11 points, 3 boards, 4 assists as a rookie point guard. I like that. And I also do like Josh Jackson out of Phoenix as well.
Yeah.
Another small guard who can space the floor, and find people shots. I really don't know how they're going to replace him, or if they are going to replace him, because it's sort of last minute.
Right.
I'd like to see what they do.
big loss for the Bucks too.
Yeah, big losses.
Have they lost yet since their new coach got hired? Because I saw they were like 2-0 or something since they fired J Kidd.
I think they did just they did go on a 2-game winning streak, but I think they did just lose to the Timberwolves on Thursday.
Well, I wasn't sad to see J Kidd go.
No,
Don't love him as a head coach, but I guess that's a conversation for another day.
no, actually, we had that conversation last
Last
week.
week.
I'm pretty sure you're 1 week late there, Adam.
All right.
But yeah, well, no, that's odd. But going into the other good stuff on the Saturday, the mainstay of the NBA All-Star weekend. I don't know if you guys want to start off with the skills competition. That's usually the first thing that happens in the night. This year they're doing big men versus little guys again.
Yeah, is that something they started last year?
I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago that they started big men versus small men.
Okay.
Just to run off the 10 people that are representing each team there. So we have Lou Williams and Jamal Murray, another Canadian in the competition. Spencer Dinwiddie out of the Brooklyn Nets. Donovan Mitchell, another young up-and-comer, representing the small guards. And then going against the big men, we have Al Horford, Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis, your reigning champion, as well as Laurie Mikkinen, another rookie. Any surprise about the youth in the skills competition?
Not too surprised, to be honest, because I think the talent is getting better with our youth. Like, a lot of people say that kids come in these days and they don't know how to play ball as well as they used to. I disagree with that because it's so advanced now, and the competition and the skills and everything are so much more intense. The kids training, like even watching like kids that are like 10 or 12 doing dribble drills, I'm like, I can't even do any of that.
For sure.
Not even close. So
5 years old, like what the hell?
yeah, so I think kids are becoming better and better. and that's probably one of the reasons why they're considering dropping that draft age again.
Yeah. Even the fact that big men are now in this competition, I think it proves that you as a big man, if you want to come in the NBA, you need to have some sort of different game than just being big and being a bully in the post. You got to be able to move your feet, pass the ball. In today's day and age, there's just too many good big men out there to just be one-dimensional. So I think having these 4 big guys in there proves you got to have it all.
And I like this, like that as well. Is that big men are in this competition. Not only that, they're winning this competition.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis won it last year. Karl-Anthony Towns won it the year before.
Right.
So it's a 2 big man win back to back. Like, come on, guards. Like me
For
coming
real.
as a guard myself, you guys
That's
can't go
embarrassing.
through pylons faster than these big men. You can't do a bounce pass and a chest pass, hit a 3-pointer before these 7-footers. Like, what's going on here? I don't know, but you guys you're right in the direction of that. It is a big man league now that you have to be multi-dimensional. You can't just be 20 points in the shooting inside the key all the time. You have to have a little bit of a jumper sometimes. You have to be able to bring the ball up the court. And it's a good representation from the Kristaps Porzingis and Lauri Markkanen, especially that they are stretch forwards, shoot the ball, they can bring up the ball, they can pass it too. I think it's a good representation, especially for our non-Americans and Americans as well.
Just a question of how this works out. So does the big man face off against a little man as for the final?
Only in the final. So the way that it's starting out here, I actually did see this as well. It's for the first round, it's Lou Williams versus Jamal Murray.
Right.
Winner plays the winner of
The other
Spencer
guard.
Dinwiddie and Donovan Mitchell. Al Horford versus Embiid. Kristaps versus Markkanen. The 2 winners go on, and then it's like a bracket format.
Got
and
it.
the best
So
guard.
Kristaps did beat a guard last year in the 1-on-1.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
The unicorn.
So, off of those 8 names there, God forbid, no more injuries this upcoming week because a lot of big names have been getting injured here recently. Who's going to win? Big man, little guy?
Of all the competitions, I feel this one is the biggest toss-up. It's hard to pick. I'm gonna go Porzingis. Just from looking at the list, experience. He's the unicorn. The only one that Jamal Murray. I don't know, man.
Pick a guard. Do you have Kristaps as your
I'm
big
going
man?
Canadian. I'm going Jamal, and I think that's the final. But like I said, the skills comp is a toss-up, man. So that's my picks. We'll see what happens though.
I have 2 guys that I want to go for. One is Lou Will. You all know he's the real MVP. But
Snub of the All-Star.
the guy that I want to see win it is Donovan Mitchell.
I like it.
We know he can dribble. He's fast. He can shoot the ball, and he doesn't pass that much. Well, you don't see him get a lot of assists, but he does make really good passes.
He doesn't need to make assists in Utah, though. He's the one getting fed the ball.
Right.
No, you're right.
So he's my. I think he's gonna probably be my guy for that competition.
Just going off of it myself, throwing out the big names, if I have to pick a big man, I like Kristaps Porzingis as well. I think he could very well repeat. He has the experience. He's lanky. He's still doing good things. If I have to take out a small guy, I would like Jamal Murray. I don't see it being Jamal. I think it's going to be Lou Williams. If I have to take a guard, I think it's going to be Lou Williams and Kristaps in the finals. Lou Williams is going to turn into another level just because of the snub of the All-Star. Just so he can win something. He's a very competitive
He's already
guy.
on another level. He's playing pissed.
Exactly. So he is a competitor. He is going to compete. He is going to win, and I think he's going to rub it into people's faces when he does win.
See, that's funny. I didn't even think that Lou Williams got snubbed. I didn't even really think of it. But then I looked at you guys 23.5 points per game, and it's like, well, yeah, I think he did get snubbed.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Maybe they don't think of.
It's the Clippers. They're in the 11th in the West.
Yeah,
They're not
and
a
it's
good
the
team.
name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And he was coming off the bench for the first half of the season. Until then.
And his entire career.
Yeah, that as well. So if there was any year Lou Williams should have been an All-Star, it should have been this year. I'm glad they brought him into the weekend in some sort of capacity, skills competition, if not that 3-point competition.
Man, wasn't his time in Toronto fun though?
Oh, I've been saying that we should have kept him instead of Corey
Oh.
Joseph, man.
Drake made a
Oh,
song about him.
God.
He won the first 6 man of the year in the Raptors franchise history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Drake put
I
a
love
song
that
on his
guy.
album.
I can see him come back.
I was so angry that he left, and the worst part is knowing that we didn't even offer him
I
anything.
know.
We just let him walk.
I know. It's bad.
That's the one thing.
He went to LA?
Yeah.
Yep, right from here. I think he was very valuable. He did work.
Extremely valuable.
6-man, like he could have done exactly what we need in this situation right now.
Look at what Jamal Crawford, like 6 man a year for how many years in a row?
His
Like,
entire career.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
like he's so valuable to. I know the Clippers are the Clippers, but he's valuable to that team.
Yeah.
Extremely valuable.
They love, like, especially the Clippers. If there's any organization that values the 6-man, it is the Clippers. They
Right.
had Jamal Crawford, they had Lou Williams, and now they had also Lamar Odom, who won a couple 6-mans with them as well.
Wow.
They do like the 6-man, so that's why I think Lou Williams went there. He found his nice fit. Moving on to the second in line on the Saturday All-Star Weekend. Personally, one of my favorite competitions, because it's usually a toss-up, it is the 3-point competition. Good field this year, I think. I think they got it right on the good every year.
Yep.
There's always the 1 or 2 oddballs in the 3-point competition. This year, I think they got all the best shooters in there at the right time. Adam, take it away with your predictions. You can do the final 3 and then pick one winner if you
There's
want.
picking with my heart and there's picking with my brain here. Picking with my heart, I'm going with my boy, the Bulldog, Kyle Lowry. But pick with my brain, I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets, Eric Gordon. I think he's been in the competition before. He has the experience.
He's
There's a couple
won
guys.
before.
Has he?
Didn't he win 2 years ago?
No, that's Steph. I think Steph
I
and
don't-
Clay have won.
I think he's
Back and
come
back?
second.
And Kyrie also won as well.
Eric Gordon's due. I'm telling
Okay.
you. So,
Okay.
you know what? There's a lot of good names in here. Loaded field, like you said. Devin Booker. There's a couple good names. Klay Thompson. Eric Gordon coming from the Rockets. They shoot threes like it's their job, obviously.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my pick. He has the experience. He has the stroke. So, we'll see what happens.
This is a toss up for me. I know the guys who are not going to win it. That's
Yeah.
what I know.
For
sure.
Because
Throw them
some
out
of these
there.
guys like
Throw them
Tobias
out there.
Harris, Wayne Ellington,
Paul George.
Paul George.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off there, Dan. Wayne Ellington is I think he's 3rd in the league this season for most 3-pointers made.
You're right, but I don't know if he can because you have
different.
to incorporate that you have to shoot at a fast pace.
Mhm.
And it's a pickup, it's not a pass.
Being in
Yeah.
the competition is a huge advantage. Competing in the competition before the weekend obviously is a huge advantage for these guys because grabbing it off the rack, like Dan said, and shooting it rather than receiving a pass and shooting
Right.
it is much different.
I think I would have liked to see Lauri Markkanen in this competition.
Right.
Even in this situation, I don't think Donovan Mitchell would do good because he takes his time with the shot.
Yeah,
Rhythm.
different.
So, yeah, it's the speed I think that are gonna not work in their favor.
No, it's true. So sorry. Who's your pick there to win it? Because
I still don't know.
I was gonna say I only heard people that you were gonna lose.
You narrow it down to about 3 guys.
I think it's gonna be between Eric Gordon and Klay Thompson.
I like that.
And I'm pretty sure that's almost everybody's where they're sitting at right now. Looking at the list, I'm not too sure if everyone knows who is going to be in the 3-point contest. Just to list them out there for the people that might not know. There's Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Paul George, Wayne Ellington, Kyle Lowry, Tobias Harris, Klay Thompson, and Eric Gordon. Picking with my heart as well, being a Raptor fan there, Kyle Lowry. I don't believe he's going to win. I just want a better showing than what he did last year. He got 7 out of 30 last year, something like that. Definitely under double digits. It was a letdown. A lot of people didn't know where it was coming from. Yet again, like Adam said there, it was the rhythm. He's never done it before. Picking up out of a rack and going from the corners is totally different than what Kyle does at the top of the key. When he just bangs them out at the top of the key.
I feel like
all
he's
the time.
he's an in-game shooter compared to a 3-point contest.
And he's very rhythm. He's very streaky.
Yeah.
If he hits the first 4 or 5 in a row, it's on.
Yeah.
If he misses 4 or 5 and he doesn't see it go in, throws his confidence really, really quickly. Final 4, I think it's definitely going to be Klay Thompson, Eric Gordon. Devin Booker is going to be in the Final 4. I think his stroke is so pure. I think he is very mechanical as well, so he can pull off a rack and get up and shoot.
He's just a pure scorer.
Just put the ball in the net. As well as the 4, it's going to be a toss-up between Paul George or Bradley Beal. Whoever wants to come and ball that day.
The thing is about this competition, though, there's always a dark horse. There's always a guy
always
that
the one
squeaks
guy.
through to the final round. It's gonna be Wayne Ellington or it's gonna be Tobias Harris.
You're like, why are you there?
And none of us picked him.
And then you're gonna miss the Klay Thompson, who's just gonna have an off night and
Yeah.
only get like 7 or 7 to 10 and not make it. But if I have to pick one person to win it all, it's got to be my man Klay. Like, he is just a machine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how he gets the ball, if it's coming off a screen, bounce pass, fast break, pull up, step back. The shot's pure. It's money. It's a robotic. It is picture perfect every release, which is what you need in a 3-point contest.
I'm not sure if you said this in previous podcasts, but what was the one stat you said about his 60?
Yes, actually, I did come across that stat there. They were trying to see what was the greatest in-game performance. It was between Kobe Bryant's 81, Devin Booker's 60. Devin Booker's 50 points as a rookie, and then Klay Thompson's 60 points, where he got 28 points in the quarter. I think Klay Thompson's performance in that one game was the best, purely because he only dribbled the ball 11 times. Yeah. Everything else is coming off of pick and rolls or foul shots. That stat to me is just unbelievable, purely because it doesn't matter how he got the ball. He didn't need to create anything. He just put it up and it was going in. Doesn't matter if you're in your face, not in your face. Doesn't matter where he was. It's going up. It's going in.
That offensive stat is completely mind-blowing. Whoever is creating these offensive plays for the Golden State Warriors, is Steve Kerr an assistant? Like, you are an absolute genius to have him open that much and have him score 60 points like that.
It's the fact as well as that Steve Kerr, what did he do in the league when he was with the Bulls and the Spurs? Come off screens.
Yeah.
Screens and threes.
Yeah.
And that's why he has the best shooting team ever, because that's all he really did. It helps that he has the two best shooters ever in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But you have to create these shots. Like, these shots just don't fall out of the sky. They have to be made.
I like that you talk about that, because in terms of rec ball, I started playing rec ball recently again, and that's one of the things that I hate the most, is that all these people that play rec ball, they think they're Kobe, and they just ISO, and nobody knows how to create screens for their teammates, right? And that's the most annoying thing. As somebody who passes, I can't get anybody open.
Right. It's a lot of create your own shot in rec ball. No, it's true.
It's a team game at the end of the day. Get your teammates open.
System ball is key.
That's something in the NBA that I feel like people who don't play basketball and just watch it, I think that's something that goes unnoticed a lot.
Yeah.
Is the guys who don't have the ball getting open, because those defenders, they're locked in at those guys not getting open. So those guys are working their tails off just to get open. And then once they get the ball, it's a whole different story.
If you watch NBA looking for these types of plays, it's a beautiful art.
Right.
It's like,
because the defending team, they study tape too, right? So they think they know what sideline plays calling, what baseline plays coming. So they kind of, it's a chess match.
Sorry to go back onto the 3-point contest there, guys. I was doing a little bit of Googling here, checking stats. As of last year, this is Wikipedia, so it could very be false, but Wikipedia is almost 100% true. The NBA 3-point contest champion in 2017 was Eric Gordon.
Oh, wow.
He
2017.
Won last year's NBA 3-point contest is Eric Gordon.
Okay.
So he has experience as well. So I think still it's gonna be Klay, because you can't hold him off forever.
Yep.
But no, it's good to see that Eric Gordon was up there as well.
Okay.
But moving on to the Cinderella of the ball. This is the main thing. This is why people come to watch All-Star Weekend. Great highlights in the past. Hopefully there's a lot more to come this season. It is the NBA Sprite Dunk Contest. Last year's dunk contest, I don't know how you guys feel. I thought it was somewhat of a letdown, especially coming off of the one in Toronto, where there was like the huge Aaron Gordon and that dunk off there.
T. Ross was in that one, I think.
In Toronto one, yes, I believe so as well.
With the Carter jersey.
Yep. So a lot of good past memories. This dunk contest, I hope it's going to be better than what last year's was. There's a lot of unknown people in last year's dunk contest. Listing off the competitors this year, we have Aaron Gordon, your reigning champion, if I'm not mistaken, as well as Victor Oladipo, Larry Nance Jr., and Dennis Smith Jr., all representing their teams respectively for the dunk contest. There, Adam, we can toss it to you first here. Good dunk contest, bad dunk contest.
You know what?
Winners, underdogs.
I love the field. I think it's a loaded field. I think it's the first field in a couple of years where any guy can win it. I feel the last like 2 or 3 years has been like maybe 2 guys that you knew is going to be one of the 2. Like if Aaron Gordon, Larry Nance Jr., Dennis Smith, it's a complete toss-up for me.
I like the fact that we know all of these players.
I absolutely agree.
Yes.
Yeah, they're known players in the league. Larry Nance Jr., I think it was last year, had the nastiest dunk of the season, where he did the left hand, like sky, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was just mind-blowing. Based off that dunk alone, I'm going to say Larry, because he has the hops. I don't know. There's some athletic freaks in this field,
Aaron
as
Gordon.
we know, Aaron Gordon and Dennis Smith Jr. So I think that's where Larry is a little bit behind, but we'll see what happens. He's my dark horse, though, Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, this is gonna be a crazy dunk contest in my opinion. Aaron Gordon has been impressive every single year. The guy just he jumps so damn high.
Yeah.
He impresses me as much as like Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing that he had that injury because I would have liked to see him in the dunk contest.
Is that why he's not in it?
Again.
I was
Yeah.
wondering.
But
Okay.
that's why he missed last year's as well, because his injury happened just about a year ago now when he
Right.
came back.
And now he's
just
just
missed it.
recovering. So,
Okay.
yeah, those two guys are like, if they're in the dunk contest, I'm watching them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
for
true.
sure.
Any winners? Any predictions on the winner? Throwing it out there.
I want to say Aaron Gordon.
Experience helps. Like you guys said, very competitive field. A lot of great athletic abilities, a lot of hops, a lot of jumping ability out of these four guys. I love Aaron Gordon. His creativity and his jumping ability is unbelievable.
That's
the
the
mix
X
of the
factor.
two. Like, that's what it was. Everyone knows that Nate Robinson won a couple dunk contests. His jumping ability was through the roof. His creativity was also really nice as well for being such a
Right.
small guy.
Right.
So you need a combination. You can't just jump through the roof, which is what we saw with DeAndre Jordan. He could jump as held high too, but he wasn't really creative. JaVale McGee with the double ball, he wasn't really creative. So Aaron Gordon having the creativity is unbelievable. But like Adam said, the dark horse is Larry Nance Jr. If he can be creative, I think his pure jumping ability is better than Aaron Gordon.
Mhm.
In-game junker as well is better than Aaron Gordon. I've never seen him do really creative
That's the
dunks
question.
in the game or
Yeah.
anything. It's a lot of power dunks going over people, which is nice, which is
Right.
good in games, but like it's a different dunk competition. Going on a side note, like Dennis Smith Jr., we've seen creative dunks from him in game. If you give him a week to strategize, get a perfect pass, can he bring it to the next level? He has the flight time to do it. He can put it between his legs for sure. He can be creative if he can make the dunks. I know with the small guys,
Yeah.
it's about completing the dunks. It's cool to be up in the air doing those
Right.
two spins and stuff, but if it doesn't go in, it doesn't really count. Dennis Smith Jr., we know he's creative. I don't know if his jumping ability would be there. Larry Nance, we know his jumping ability is there. We don't know if he's creative. I think Larry Nance, if he can put the two together, he can run away with it this year.
I just want to get your guys' opinion on the creativity level. Like, how creative do you think is too creative? Like, this is my issue with the dunk contest. I just wish they could tone it back to the like originality level of the Vince Carter days, and just like the one year with Gerald Green with the cupcake on top of the backboard and him blowing out the candle. Like, that was the first year where I was just like, this is like a little excessive to
Or
me.
he took off the shoes or
Right,
whatever.
or bringing out like cars and I don't know. I just think that they would just bring it back to the days of just Vince and dunking it, just straight dunking it. And I think people would appreciate that a little bit more than jumping over like a car that's Ford sponsored the event, so they're bringing a Ford Escape to jump over, right? So I don't know.
Jumping over DJ Khaled. I remember someone did that last year as well.
I appreciate the creativity levels of these guys, but I think sometimes you just gotta get back to the dunking style rather than the show and the flashiness.
I think that's exactly why Terrence Ross did so well. And another guy that I feel like did really well that maybe didn't get an opportunity to win it, but Jamario Moon.
Yeah.
He had amazing dunks that I guess
Jamario.
he couldn't complete the dunk,
No, I remember that.
but he had this crazy spin move that he couldn't land. But like
He
I
took
don't know.
off. He took off from the free throw
Free
too.
throw line as well, and he put the tape down. Like he was the weirdo. I like that as well. The props are getting a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like props though. Like Aaron Gordon used the props perfectly when he brought his mascot out on the it's not a Segway, the hoverboard.
Right.
When he was on the hoverboard spinning and he jumped over him and put the ball under his butt over the
Yeah.
guy's head. And
But that was still
That
a
was-
crazy feat.
Yeah, that's
right.
yeah.
that is
Like-
still the dunk itself.
Right.
I get that, but like
The
props like that is
physicality
good.
of it is like, oh my goodness.
I like props. Jumping over cars are still amazing. Only if you jump over the top of the car. There's a lot of people that jump over the hood of the car. I can jump over a hood of a car.
Right.
Maybe not dunk a ball, but like jumping over a hood of a car is not that hard. Jumping over the middle of a car is very impressive.
I'm just afraid that the judges get too caught up in the creativity than the actual dunk itself, and like they're too caught up in the flash, and they give them the points for that
And they take off of crowd
hype.
crowd reaction a lot. But then again, the crowd reacts off of anything.
Right.
Like
I
it's-
think-
it's a lot.
The hard thing to do, these physical dunks that we like to see, is that there's only so much you can do.
Right.
so much your body can give you, right?
Yeah, there's
So
only
that's
so
why
much
they
hang
bring
time.
in these props to try to make it creative.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, even something as simple as I forget who it was. They brought in another net and raised it higher.
Yeah.
Like, that
was that-
was-
I think that was Dwight. I think Dwight put on a
Dwight?
12-foot net.
Yeah, and then I think JaVale had another one where he tapped it off the backboard and then caught it and dunked it again. That was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Cool.
So those kind of things are like interesting because you've never seen it before. But yeah, it's tough.
It's very tough. I like the side out of bounds dunks when they put it off the side of the backboard. They dunk it, go under the rim and stuff, like things like that. That's not props or anything.
Yeah.
It's just good passing. I like getting the teammates involved.
And if you do that with between the legs and a 180, like,
That's-
what more can you physically
Yeah.
do?
Dude, and that's why it's a
That
50.
Aaron Gordon dunk when he went under the legs. Was that
Yeah.
last year's? 'Cause that was
Like
like
2 years ago against Zach
Under
Levine.
both legs, right?
yeah, that was the
seam.
dunk where I was like,
Yeah.
that's the first dunk in a long time where I was like, wow.
That is just a wow dunk.
The slow mo of that is ridiculous.
So I don't know. Creativity is getting tested here as well. I like the creativity. I hope they bring it back. I know that one year, I thought it was the worst dunk contest. They had a wheel where they would spin a wheel, and whatever the wheel landed on, you would have to perform that dunk. I'm
Oh,
so glad
gosh.
they don't have that anymore. That was just super.
I don't remember that.
No, that was about like 5 to 7 years ago. It was kind of long ago. It wasn't
man.
really good. I think it was one year when Fred George or Jason Richardson won once. That was back in the
That's
day.
awful.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Moving on from the dunk contest. Oh, well, actually, yeah, I said my winner was there, Larry Nance. So going into the mainstay on Sunday there for us, which is going to be the actual game itself, a lot of notable injuries and a lot of notable dropouts this past week especially. I think it was the last 7 days there on the actual All-Star list itself. I know that we had, just to name a few, well, everyone knows that DeMarcus Cousins was injured in the game. We have got it announced that he is being replaced by Paul George on Team LeBron, as well as we had an unfortunate fallout to John Wall and Kevin Love, both representing LeBron James's team there, who also have been replaced.
Team LeBron curse.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that there as well to see about the LeBron team drafting injured players. Wall has been replaced with Andre Drummond, and Kevin Love has been replaced with Goran Dragic of the Miami Heat. Just based off of that good replacement, do you think anyone else could have been in place of one of these two guys? We can start off there with you there, Dan.
The Goran Dragic one is interesting. Like, I think the main reason why he got picked over another player is probably maybe team record, because I think Kemba Walker is a stud, but his team is not doing so well. So, but I don't know. There's an argument for Ben Simmons as well too, but do I think he deserves to be an All-Star this year? I don't think so.
I don't think realistically. I don't think Ben Simmons could be in the running because can rookies join the All-Star game
Yeah, Blake Griffin was.
in his rookie season?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure because LeBron James has 14 in a row, but he hasn't got
Yes.
the rookie year.
Yeah, LeBron James didn't get to do it in the rookie year, but Blake Griffin did.
Really? I don't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, you know what? I like those replacements. Maybe Goran Dragic. He's a good player, but is he an all-star? I don't know. I just want to give it a quick shout out to Dwayne Casey here for being picked to coach Team LeBron. I think that's a long time coming for Coach Casey.
I'm coming for the Raptors organization.
He's been deserving of that honor.
He's got a fun team to coach.
Yeah, he should have some fun with that. I think that'd be a very fun weekend for him. Meeting, I don't think
care about defense.
I don't know if he has a lot of relationships with these guys, but it might be a good relationship for him to a good time to meet some of them. Exactly, he's a defensive coach, so he doesn't worry about that. Stress-free night for him.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
One thing that Peter pointed out last week as well too is he's coaching against his stars.
Yes. I would like to see him make, because like everyone knows, Dwayne Casey is a defensive-minded coach. When it's the All-Star game, you don't have to think about defense. This year, I think they might think about a little bit of defense and maybe make a strategy that hurts Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan, doesn't make them as effective.
To add to that too, the NBA wanted to make the
Yes.
game a little bit more competitive, so they increased the winnings that the players would get from 500,000 to 50,000 to 100,000.
For the winning team, besides the first, so this is the reason why they're doing the separate teams in the draft. They're both going to charities. Winning teams get an X amount of pot to put into charities. On top of the charity pot, each player gets a player bonus. If you're off the winning team, you get a bonus of 100,000. If you're on the losing team, you only get a $25,000 bonus check, which is a humongous disparity.
Mhm.
Being as competitive as these 16 or how many guys are on this team are,
that might make the game more competitive.
Why are you going to let them score 160 points on you and take $75,000 out of your pocket?
Yeah, you know what? For all the big sports across the states, I think the All-Star games are the biggest. The competitiveness of the All-Star games is a huge issue. The NHL All-Star game last year or 2 years ago did the same thing. They added incentives for the players in the 3-on-3 tournament, and there was a huge difference between the year before that and in that year when there was incentives. The competition level was through the roof. So it was just awesome to see the NHL All-Stars competing like that against each other. So I hope that this will bring the same effect to the NBA because it's the same thing. They're tossing alley-oops. They're going.
I think the last year score was 172 to 160.
They're putting on a show, right?
It's nice to see the alley-oops because at the same time we do want to see these alley-oops and stuff, but we don't want to see it like on an open lane.
Right.
You know?
You want to see some effort.
It was a
I want to see
300-point
Steph
game.
Curry get dunked on again.
Right. Or you want you want to see some swats. Like I don't like no one gets swatted in the All-Star game.
Yeah, no blocks, no.
Like I want to see some
defensive-
compete. Like I want to see LeBron take on like Al Horford or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I want
wanna
Dane
see a
Quasey
block.
to be like, yo, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are not allowed to score.
Yes, I want to see
Shut
someone
them
get
down.
locked down, like to go against Steph Curry and say, "Don't let Steph Curry score a three in the whole All-Star game." That's a feat. Like I just don't like the 350-point combined games. That's not entertaining.
Yeah, free half court shots for Steph
Right.
Curry.
Yeah, and they did it like 8 times in a row just to make the guy get a basket. I don't like that. I think this is going to make it a lot competitive. The only major organization that has All-Star right is baseball. The fact that the winning conference gets home field advantage in the championship series, that if you're a competing team, you're going to look around the locker room and go, guys, I have a shot to win this. Don't F this up for me. I want home field advantage.
Totally
Get
agree.
your together. Hopefully this is what's going to happen.
And the managers in those games, they get 6 starting pitchers or whatever, and they use them like strategically. It's awesome how they do that. But yeah, you're right.
So I hope it makes it more competitive. But going back to the replacement for Kevin Love with Gordon Dragic, Kemba Walker, I'm sorry. You got missed. I would have even made an exception to have Lou Williams coming out of the West, having another West guy in that because he's way more deserving than Dragic, I think. Unfortunately to say that. I know me and Dan here, we were spitballing a little bit. We know he's only officially played 1 game as an Eastern Conference player. Blake Griffin. He had a pretty decent season in the Clippers. He wasn't Western Conference All-Star material because he was going up against the likes of Kevin Durant, the Draymond Greens, the Karl Anthony Towns. Like those are really good players. Going against the Eastern Conference big men, I think he had a better season than Kevin Love as a whole.
Yeah.
Better than
Al Horford.
Al Horford as a whole as well. Yes, he only played 1 game as an Eastern Conference player, but he is an Eastern Conference player.
But how pissed would you be if you were on the East?
Really? If you're Andre Drummond, who's also, luckily he got in, but he got missed in the first wave of announcements.
Right.
And then you see your new teammate walk into the conference, first day in the conference, gets an All-Star bid. I'd be a little sour, but how about you there, Adam? What would you feel?
I don't know. I don't know if I put Blake in any of over these guys. It's tough. Kevin Love, he's been getting ripped off all year from his teammates. I got a soft spot for Kevin Love. I feel extremely bad for him. That's a whole nother conversation, I guess.
That's unfortunate.
But yeah, you know what? I don't know if Blake has the talent to compete with this or to be in this field.
A couple years removed from the All-Star game himself.
That's just my opinion. I don't know. Just looking at the names here, I don't know if I'd replace him with anybody. Like Goran Dragic is the only guy I'm looking at, but there's names I could throw in there before Blake Griffin.
Any picks on? I know that we talked a little bit last week about who's a better overall team, LeBron James and Curry. I would like to get your pick on that there, Adam, as well. You can put into the replacements. I know that me and Dan were heavily leaning on LeBron James's team being a little bit better overall. There's been speculations that the reason why LeBron drafted a better team is because he's been drafting his own team for the last 8 to 9 years, with his first in Cleveland, going to Miami, and then going back to Cleveland, picking him, choosing who he wants around him.
You know what? There's a couple of really cool matchups here that are going to be awesome to watch. The small forwards, LeBron and Giannis.
Nice.
I think Giannis is the up-and-coming player of the league or MVP, whatever. Boogie and Joel Embiid,
He was playing.
Oh, right. I was gonna say those are gonna be two personalities going at it, but
Right, right.
That would have been fun.
A trash talking match in the regular season when they match up against each other.
Even Drummond and Embiid.
Drummond, yeah.
Embiid, if any big man, really.
Joel Embiid's an entertaining
Some
guy,
would say-
you know what?
Yeah.
So I think having him in the All-Star game is gonna be a treat. His first All-Star game is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think this is gonna be if the compete factor is and the competition factor is maintained and there's no 180 point games. This is gonna be one of the better games of All Star history. There,
Yeah,
I'd agree.
a lot of names, a lot of good names.
it's gonna be fun, and you know, there's always gonna be your Giannis and Westbrook who are gonna give it 100% every single time. So
And there's a lot of inner monologues as well. Like Durant and Westbrook, they're on the same team. Kyrie and James are on the same team. Could we see a lineup of Kyrie, Westbrook, Durant, James, and throw in like I don't know, Kristaps Porzingis just to stretch out the floor, like, and have those four personalities going with a very neutral guy and Kristaps just like getting his own.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun to watch. There is the Casey against the Raptor boys. We were supposed to have the two Wizard guys play together with Wall and Beal, which would have been nice. Or we can even see Durant versus the Golden State trio of Clay, Dre, and Steph.
It'd be fun.
So it's like the OG Warriors against the new Warrior.
My issue with this new drafting, I think this draft should have been televised. The fact that this
Yes.
wasn't televised, I thought the whole point of this was to have like some cool, like kind of like the NHL All-Star game did, where they bring him up on stage or whatever, and Phil Kessel was the last one, and like he was a laughing stock,
And he won the car.
and he won a car. But I thought like it'd be Team or LeBron and Stephen Curry, and they're picking their players. I don't know if all the players are there or whatever. I don't know. I thought it was gonna be like an event, and then no, like they were just announced, and I was like, okay, like that's it.
yeah,
So you
I
guys,
think,
you know,
yeah, we were talking about this last week as well too. It would have been funny because they had to pick up the starters first, right?
right.
And we were curious about like where did Kyrie go? Did Steph like force LeBron to pick him by not
Right.
picking him? And he was like the last pick or something.
Right.
Or-
It would have been cool to see who got picked first.
It's true.
If James got Kyrie by default or whatever.
Because I know they both captains sat down with Ernie Johnson on TNT and talked about it, and they
Right.
said that there were some funny moments that they had talking when they were drafting people. I like funny moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, where,
Like,
where
show
did
me.
Horford get drafted?
Yeah, like who was the last overall pick? Was Westbrook the last overall pick, knowing that LeBron has Durant, doesn't want those two to be together?
Yeah.
Curry knowing that, well, I want Durant to have Westbrook because of inner turmoil, let him get him by default. I'd like to see it.
If you were to advertise the 2018 All-Star Draft like half an hour on Sportsnet, I would be all over that.
All
and
over
I
it.
think a lot of people
It would
would.
People
be.
would pay to see that
Yeah.
if it was even an event.
You know,
and just
so-
have it in a press conference one day. I think they dropped the ball there. I think NBA just totally dropped the ball.
Hopefully, if they do it again in future years, they'll change
they
that.
should.
But I think the fans would like to see that.
Especially because the last couple of years, the West have been like heads and shoulders better than the Eastern Conference. So I like the mix-ups because now, realistically, yeah, we were saying LeBron James's team is a better team. They're all fantasy stars. It's a fantasy team. Like, anything could
toss-up,
happen.
right?
Like, anything could happen. Like, Steph Curry, they have Steph Curry and James Harden on behind the arc. They could have a 3-point contest within themselves and go 35 from behind the arc. Why not? And then they bring on Klay Thompson off the bench, another 33 pointers. So you never know.
Giannis can grab a rebound from the 3-point line, so that helps.
Yeah, Giannis can do the Michael Jordan Space Jam reach and just
Yeah.
put his arm from half court and dunk it. Like, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Before we sign off here or anything, any quick MVP throwouts, any notable watches
For the All-Star Game MVP,
for the All-Star Game MVP? Who won it last year? Russell what? No, Russell.
I want to say Russell.
Oh, Anthony Davis.
Was it Anthony Davis?
Yeah.
In New Orleans.
Oh, you're
I'm
right.
sure it was in New Orleans. I think you are correct.
Where is it this year?
Googleable again. Los
LA.
Angeles.
LA.
So there's no Lakers and no Clipper representation in the actual All-Star game. I know people were saying that usually you try to give it to the home crowd, the hometown guy to get the All-Star bid. Didn't do that in Toronto with DeMar. Just saying.
Well, I think it's a question of who you think is going to try and take over the game. Like, who's got the personality to try and take over.
Which I think is Westbrook or
Yeah.
Giannis. I mean, Westbrook still scored a ton of points last season.
Yeah.
Or last
He
year
made,
too.
he made a run.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
I
made
think
a
they
run.
both had like over 30 points. Like AD had 40 or something, and
Right.
Westbrook had like 30.
They were going back
Five
and
and
forth.
up.
Those were the two.
You know Russell's going to bring the effort. My pick's Russell, but that's a boring pick. If I were going to pick someone else, I'd maybe go Joel Embiid just because of his personality, just trying to make a name for himself. I don't know.
That's true. He's young.
Yeah. You know, I feel like picking LeBron or something is just, or Steph Curry. Like they could go off, but who knows?
I'm gonna give it to James Harden
I like it.
because I think
Got robbed of the real MVP last year. Got to give it back.
I think we know he can pass.
Mhm.
The question is he gonna pass in this type of game? And like he can make some solid passes.
He's not going to pass this ball. James Harden, like he only passes because he knows he has to pass. No, both very good picks. I like to think, well, one, Russell Westbrook is a safe pick purely because he played for UCLA as well, so he's as home as you can get for being there. But also Paul George, he was snubbed the first time, born and raised in LA, so he is a homegrown kid. He can ball out. I think he could put the ball in the net, play a little bit of defense. He's leading the league in steals. If defense is a factor, he's a guy that is going to play. Going through the team, he is the one that actually plays the best defense without really saying you have to be a defensive stopper. Like LeBron James, yes, he is the best defender when he wants to be. He has to turn it on.
Right.
Paul George doesn't have to turn it on. It's just on all the time.
Right. No, you're right. The hometown thing is definitely real. DeRozan too, coming home.
Yeah, and DeRozan is from Compton as well. So there's actually a lot of California natives, not anyone from the Lakers or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
I'd say watch Paul George. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder, got snubbed the first time. He wants to show out, maybe show the Staples Center fans, like, hey, this is what could happen if I come to the Lakers or the Clippers. Like, what's up? Throwing it on the Curry's team, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Mm-hmm.
No one else can do what he can do, let alone in the league, let alone on Curry's team. I think if it has to be from Team Curry, I think it's Giannis. Giannis, you have to lead them, take them all the way.
I like it.
Overall, going to be a good weekend there. So no, that was everything that we really wanted to touch on here this week. I know that we want to do a quick shout out to all the injuries that happened in the last week. There was one absolute freak injury that happened to the Phoenix Suns' Isaiah Canaan. Oh my God. It was very Gordon Hayward-ish. If you guys are squeamish, I would not tell you to go and YouTube this. But if you do like to see gruesome injuries there, this is something that you guys should check out. Isaiah Canaan, I don't remember.
Was it an ankle injury?
Playing.
Yeah,
Yes, it was an
snapped
ankle fracture. Very Gordon Hayward-ish.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
It was traumatizing being a basketball player. You never want to see stuff like that. All the prayers go to Isaiah Canaan. Hope he has a speedy recovery. Hopefully to see him not too long out.
Even Andre Robertson, like if you guys saw his injury, it was pretty bad. Like it was like you could watch. You saw his knee blow up basically. It was bad.
Very important players to that team too.
Yeah, and these guys are not just like any role players. These are like key role players. Like Robertson's on the starting lineup. Isaiah Canaan was not on the starting lineup, but he was a good bench guard to give Devin Booker a breather here and there. Very, very bad injuries. And
sucks for the league, but
it does. Especially around All-Star break, because they're so close to the break where you get 4 to 5 days off, which is huge for teams. People need those 4 to 5 days off to cool their bodies off before the second half of the stretch. If they could have made it here, these injuries probably wouldn't have happened with proper rehab time, proper medical training time, actually 24 hours off before doing anything. Very unfortunate. I know that since we've been on last week, these 2 injuries has come up. The Kevin Love with the broken hand, I don't think we had the time to actually fully address it. He was estimated to be out for 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured hand. If he took surgery, it should have been closer to 6. If he did it naturally, it would be closer to 8, but then there would be no surgery there.
Which is what they're doing.
I don't think he chose surgery.
No, he didn't.
Didn't choose surgery, so he chose the 8-week process.
Yep.
Very less invasive, less rehab time, so it'd be better for him in the long run. As well as another star, John Wall, who had a knee injury, supposedly that he's been playing with since mid-November when he went knee on knee. He finally decided before All-Star break to shut it down for 6 to 8 weeks, have knee cleanup surgery, which is, I think, is going to be beneficial for the Wizards because they are in a very good spot right now. They're 3rd or 4th in the East. Missing him for 6 to 8 weeks will hurt them in the standings, but I think they could still make playoffs, having come back 100% for playoffs.
They've been winning without him.
That as well. They beat the Raptors without John Wall 2 days ago.
You know what? Looking at the long term for that team, it's absolutely the smart move. He is the franchise. You have him locked up. Yeah. You're in not a bad spot right now. He'll be back before the end of the year.
Yeah.
it's the right thing to do.
If at most they would go from fourth in the league in the East right now to maybe seventh tops,
They'll be fine in the playoffs with him back.
and they will be dangerous if you are on the seventh seed facing against your Raptors, who are currently sitting second. I would never want to see the Wizards in the 7-game series in the playoffs. Boston, they might run Boston out for a little bit. So there's a lot of, this is a perfect time. As long as he can come back with 8 weeks and play to where he was playing before he sat out, I think this is the perfect time for the Wizards. I think this could be smart management. Smart management. I know with weeks past, we were talking about injury management where teams have dropped the ball with the San Antonio Spurs and Kawhi Leonard and the 76ers and Markelle Fultz, and Portland and Trail Blazers as a whole with all their injuries.
Speaking of which, video just got released of Markelle Fultz. His shot looks better.
Better.
Okay,
What does that mean, though?
We know you're a 76ers fan. Better. What would you say is better? Is it like...
I would say if you have an extra spot on your fantasy roster, stash him now.
So I didn't know this about Markelle Fultz, but I didn't know his shot was weird or whatever. But when I saw that first foul shot attempt, honestly didn't know what to think. I was like, how did this guy
get drafted
first overall? And and he shoots like that. It was an injury that forced him to shoot that way?
Yeah, it was a shoulder injury, and I think it was because they were concerned about the length of the three-point line in the NBA, and they would have to adjust the shot because of that.
Yeah.
So I guess for some reason, being a shooter, they decided to change his shot.
Yeah.
Which is the dumbest thing you could ever do.
20 years of having a shot, you're going to change it before your biggest transition in your life. Like college to NBA is the biggest transition these guys are ever going to face.
What an interesting scenario. Yeah. That is tough.
So, I don't know. Going back to the Wizards, I hope this is going to be a good change for them. Being out of the Eastern Conference, I like the Wizards. I hope them the best. I like John Wall as well. He's really respected.
I don't want to see him in the playoffs.
No, definitely not.
Last time that happened, that wasn't good. So
definitely not. But I think that's everything that we had here for this week of the Raptors Den. Definitely, guys, thank you for listening in. And you guys definitely know if you guys made it through the whole rest of this podcast, you're the real MVP.
Real MVP.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace.